The President of the Liberal and Democrat Group, Guy Verhofstadt.
So thank you very much. First of all, I want to say that this is the last press conference of this mandate. Last press conference of this mandate, so maybe a good opportunity to make an analysis, an evaluation of the results. When I started in this Parliament in 2009 with the Commission Barroso, we got 5 requests for him. Maybe some of you remember these 5 requests, but I'm going to repeat them. It was to build a single European recovery plan, to have a financial supervisor, a single financial supervisor to fix the banks, to have a multi-annual financial framework for own resources, to have an effective external action service that represents a united position of the European Union, and to have a specific portfolio on fundamental rights and anti-discrimination. When we look to 5 years later, we have to recognize that besides the establishment of a single financial supervisor, that we didn't really emerge from the crisis in Europe. Despite signs of recovery and the fact that we are out of recession, we have not yet entered in a new period of economic growth. And the reason is simple. We didn't solve the first problem that you need to solve, and that's the banking problem. We didn't clean the banks, and the consequence of this is that the money continues to be in the banks and doesn't stream again to the real economy. So fixing the economy and emerging from the economic crisis shall be the top priority, has to be the top priority for the next 5 years. Same thing on the foreign affairs. Our neighborhood became extremely critical towards the European Union. I give the example of Switzerland, that had a referendum on migration, Iceland that stopped negotiations on a membership, the Western Balkans were dragging their feet, Turkey was going in the wrong direction. Certainly the crackdown on fundamental rights is certainly not a step in the direction of Europe, and in the meanwhile Russia is occupying with the Crimea a neighboring country. So on foreign affairs, it's clear that we need a more united and coherent position of the Union to play a role in our own neighborhood. And then finally, on civil liberties, the NSA scandal revealed certainly our failure to protect the basic privacy of our citizens, and this basic privacy is fully under threat. So for the next 5 years, I think we have to make the right assessment. 24 of the 28 countries of the European Union have a prime minister or a head of state who is or conservative or socialist. The head of the Commission is PPE. The head of the Council is PPE. The head of the Eurogroup is a socialist. The High Representative is a socialist. The same is also the case for the enlargement portfolio. So I don't think that I'm exaggerating when I'm saying that the last 5 years we were not able to solve our big challenges in Europe. And I think that I don't exaggerate when I'm saying that this is because a failing leadership inside the European Union and in most member states of the European Union by conservatives and by socialists. The reason for that is simple. Conservatives and socialists have mainly the old recipes who don't work any longer. Conservatives are mainly defending the status quo and a little bit of austerity, and socialist things that we can emerge from the crisis by making new debts, was one of the origins of the crisis in which we live today. So we think that time is now there in these European elections to change the leadership in the European Union. Not longer this, I should say, oligopoly of conservatives and socialists, and to really start an alternative. And our alternative, the alternative of the Alliance of Liberal and Democrats in Europe, is to use a further integration of the European Union as an engine to emerge from the crisis. We have to learn from the past, from the mistakes of the past, but also we have to learn from the successes of the past. And one of the successes of the past was Delors' launch of the internal market. This great idea to create an internal market in the European Union as an engine for growth. And he succeeded. Well, we need exactly this in the next 5 years. That is a policy of a further integration of the European Union, using this integration as an engine of growth. Banking union, for example, that can restore the broken transfer mechanism between banks and the real economy. A unified capital market that can lower interest rates in Europe because they are higher than in the US, for example, because of a lack of liquidity, because our capital markets are still not unified. So that interest rates can go down for the small and medium companies. The same energy. We need the urgent as possible to establish a community, an energy community in the Union, so that energy prices can go down, and that we are not longer so completely dependable from imports from, for example, Russia. And finally, an internal market on services and digital. Why we don't have big companies like Google, like Facebook, like Twitter and so on? Why they are all American? Because we don't have a unified services and digital market. On the contrary. So that is what Europe needs in the next 5 years. That's not, again, the old recipes of the past, of the conservatives and the socialists, but a new approach based on the use of a further integration of the European Union as an engine for a new growth in Europe. And this same more coherent unity and coherent policy in the European Union, we need it certainly also on the issues of foreign affairs. I find it unacceptable that while the Russian troops are massing at our borders, that the European Union, and especially the European foreign ministers, fail to agree to move to the next level of sanctions by targeting Russian state companies, by targeting top officials of the administration of Putin, or by the suspension of military contracts with Russia. So also on the level of foreign affairs in our neighbourhood policy, we need a leap forward in integration, in the European integration. Maybe I can all invite you on the 25th of April, that's exactly 1 month before the European elections. I shall launch my programme for the Commission presidency in Brussels at the Residence Palace at 11 o'clock. It's clearly the programme for the Commission presidency, because I have heard that Danny mixed it up with the presidency of the Parliament, but that's maybe a problem that he has. Yeah.